Hello everybody, back here again with another review for the Borderlands series. This one will be on the third game in the series, Borderlands the Pre-Sequel. Quick disclaimer though, there will be spoilers in this review for the first two games. This does not spoil the storyline of the Pre-Sequel, but instead there are some things that tie in from this game that you may not want spoiled for you from the first two games. So, if you haven't played the first two games, you might not want to watch this. I just wanted to warn everybody, just to make sure. Alright, cool. Without further ado, Borderlands the Pre-Sequel. This game is before Borderlands 2, I do believe. No. Yes. Okay, so this is before Borderlands 2, but nonetheless, the reason why this is a very cool game is while Borderlands and Borderlands 2 were both on the planet called Pandora, Borderlands the Pre-Sequel actually takes place on the moon of Pandora. Now, another thing about this game is the characters. The four starting characters of this game are the villains. Not all super bad, maybe, judging off your own personal opinions, but these are the villains of the first two games that you now get to play a story through for. Maybe leading up to why they are evil or mean or what their motives were. So, this is going to be a bit fun. Alright, so, the first four characters. We have Wilhelm, the new commando-style character. He for his special ability, deploys two surveyor drones. These are basically two little robots that will fly around with him. One being an offensive drone, which will fly around and attack enemies, and the second one being a defensive drone, which will sit back and heal you and other cool things like that. Very useful and a very cool character. Next, we have Nisha. Nisha is a sheriff and a gunslinger and the sort. Her special ability is stupid. Okay. Bias out of the way. She's very strong, and I played a lot of her, but she is, in my opinion, a bit too strong. Alright, so her special ability is Showdown. What it does is it basically gives you aimbot. It will lock on to enemies nearby and in your crosshairs. Blech. So, next, we have, for the starting characters, Claptrap from the first two games, which is very interesting. So, what Claptrap's special ability is it's called VaultHunter.exe. So, what this does is it scans the battlefield and what surrounds you and what is happening, and chooses a random-ish, in air quotes, ability to use for you and your teammates. It can affect you in a good way and in a bad way. Both are kind of determinable off what's going on. And the joke with that is, it's not malware, it's a feature. And finally, the last of the four starting characters is Athena, the gladiator. She is interesting. She tends to focus more around melee-centric builds. But her special ability pulls out a shield that you can use to block damage and projectiles, which is very useful. But not only does it block it, but it absorbs the damage that it would have taken And then whenever the time runs out, or you stop the ability early, you will then throw the shield out as a projectile, damaging enemies with all of the stored damage that it took from blocking. So, a very good offensive and defensive ability. Those are the 4 set abilities of the starting 4 characters. Now, we're going to start this one off with covering the DLC in this game first. The DLC in this game, it's not very long. There's not a lot of content per se, but the storyline of the DLC is by most people considered even better than the base game storyline altogether. So if you like stories, then definitely pick up the DLC. If you're worried about content and bang for your buck, maybe not. You may not enjoy the game. If you don't enjoy the game, don't get the DLC, obviously. But the DLC does not add a whole lot of content, but it definitely is an enjoyable story, so I will give it points for that. Other than that, we have, just like the Borderlands 2 game, 2 DLC characters. The first one being the Baroness. The Baroness is the siren of this game. Funny that she's a DLC character. Probably because most of the sirens in the world are good guys. So far, at least of what we know. So, the Baroness is Lady Hammerlock. So there is a character in the first 2 games called Sir Hammerlock. He is, in my opinion, one of the best characters in the game. And this is his sister. She is mean, she is a siren, and is a lot of fun, honestly. Her special ability is completely based around ice, an element that was added in the pre-sequel, so it was not in any of the previous games. What she does is she spawns a giant area of effect that freezes enemies, causing them to take increased damage and the possibility of being shattered. This is very useful, and it is a very, very fun ability. And she tends to have more sniper-centric playstyles, but she is a very fun character, and I definitely recommend picking up her and this upcoming DLC character that I'm going to speak about now. Finally, the last DLC character, the Doppelganger. What he is he is the big bad's body double. You get to play as Handsome Jack's body double. So, Handsome Jack's body double has a very interesting special ability. His special ability is called Expendable Assets. Press F to summon 2 Digijacks, basically holograms, to fight and die for you. Digijacks lose health constantly until they die. My bad. So what this means is while they are out, they will constantly drain health until they die. And when a Digijack dies, a new one will be summoned near me. Press and hold F to end expendable assets early and gain a reduction to my cooldown for it. So if I pop it, and then all of the enemies are dead, and I still have a lot of duration left on it, I can just turn it off and get a lot of my cooldown back so I don't have to wait 1.5 years for it. It is very useful, and in my opinion, one of the most enjoyable action skills or special abilities in this game. So, just like in the past 2 games, I will go over Handsome Jack the Doppelganger's entire skill trees, and then we will go from there. So we will go from left to right. So, first things first, best foot forward. While expendable assets is active, killing an enemy extends its duration. The skill has diminishing returns. I feel like the reason why they put the diminishing returns in here is because of Salvador from the second game, because gunzerking is basically indefinite. It is a very good ability though, nonetheless, and I highly recommend picking it up, because there is no bad thing at all for having your action skill last longer. Definitely a very good ability. Next, Bolster. Increase the max health of you and your Digijax. Additionally, the longer a Digijack is alive, the more damage it does. This is good if you want to make a build completely around your holograms doing the damage for you. Or just if you want them to do a bit more, it helps. And it's good for survivability. Next, Just Compensation. Increases magazine size with all gun types as well as grenade damage. Bonuses increase for every grenade missing from your supply. If you are carrying the maximum number of grenades, you receive no bonus. So, decent damage buff. Pretty good. It's not an ability that I really spec into. It's alright. It's an okay ability if you tend to use grenades a lot and stuff like that, but not personally something that I use. Next, you have my shield. Your Digijax gain an exact copy of your shield, complete with all of the benefits it brings. This is a very, very strong ability if you want your Digijax to be more survivable, and if they gain a shield that gives them increased damage or something like that, then you're just giving them more damage. This really helps, but I do not take this, not with this build, but I'm not too worried about this build right now, but this is a very good ability. If you want your Jax to be more survivable, definitely pick it up. Next, Take Their Freedom. Whenever you or your Digijax kill an enemy, you and your Digijax gain health. This is great. This keeps you very, very healed up in and amidst combat. So if you start to get low on health, if either your clones or you kill an enemy, at max rank you get 12.5% of maximum health on kill. And this isn't regeneration. This is just instant 12% of your health. So if you're just running through, you can instantly heal yourself if you just like shoot a rocket launcher and kill like 5 enemies or something like that. Like it's you get a lot of health back. It's very good. Next, Jax Cash. When you or your Digijax kill an enemy, you gain a stack of cash. Throwing a grenade when you have 4 stacks consumes all cash stacks and instead of grenade ammo. So this is more based around preserving your grenades if you tend to use grenades a lot. If you have either a really strong one or you just really enjoy using grenades, well, this helps you maintain that instead of always looking for ammo. Next, Inspire. Jack will occasionally inspire you with words of greatness. It doesn't say anything on here, and to be honest, I'm not sure what it does. But that doesn't mean it's not good. It could be a speed and damage buff or something like that, but I usually do not use Inspire. To be honest, I never use this skill. So, give it a shot. Nothing says you can't. Plus, it's pretty funny. Next, Hero Pose. Improves shield capacity, shield recharge rate, and shield recharge delay. This is completely based around keeping your shield up at all times. It is very useful for survivability and not a bad pick at all. On my mark, pressing F during expendable assets causes your Digijax to throw a copy of your grenade at an enemy under your crosshairs. You can only do this once each expendable asset's activation. This is very useful, again, if you have a very strong grenade. This is the same concept of if you have a very strong grenade or something that benefits you utility-wise, this could be useful because you just get more grenades. Why not? Next, Lean on Me. Increase your fire rate and gives your Digijax a chance to fire a bonus corrosive shot based on how high your health is. So this gives your Digijax now a chance to do special element types, which is very useful in case you're having problems with armored enemies or anything like that, or if you want your Digijax to inflict a damage over time, this can kind of give you that opportunity, again, if you want your Digijax to just put out some more damage. Next, Persistence. While expendable assets is cooling down, you gain shield capacity and health regeneration. The lower your health, the stronger the regeneration. This is good. This gives you survivability while your main escape/survival tool is on cooldown, being your clones. Because nothing says survivability like enemies shooting at someone other than you. So, very strong. If you need more survivability, probably pick this up. Next, Resolute. You and your Digijax gain damage resistance and gun damage for a few seconds after you take damage. So this is basically, if you know you're going to be in the middle of a bunch of enemies and you're going to get shot at, no reason not to take it because free damage. Finally, the keystone of the hero of this story skill tree, Promote the ranks. Your first Digijax spawn will be a badass that deals increased damage and has increased health and can launch a powerful Digi-missile barrage. Each Digijax spawned afterwards has a chance to be a badass. So, the chances are pretty high. It's a 33% chance, and it's just, again, based around making your Digijax just do more damage, making them more survivable, do more damage, and so that you don't have to do all the work yourself. This is a very good character to play if you're playing solo, but nothing says you can't play it with a friend. It is a very fun character, and in my opinion, it is my favorite. Next, the Greater Good skill tree. Integrity. You deal increased gun damage against enemies who are below 40% health. If you have not damaged the enemy previously, and the enemy is under 40% health, you deal even more gun damage. Pretty good. Damage increase, nothing wrong with it. Pretty good overall. Next, Collaborate. Whenever a Digijack dies, you gain a stack of Collaborate. You and your Digijax deal increased damage for every stack of Collaborate you have. All stacks of Collaborate are lost when expendable assets ends. So this is just stacking damage the longer your clones are alive. Just more damage for you and your clones. Nothing wrong with that. More damage the better. Next, Synergy. Kill skill. Killing an enemy grants increased gun damage and critical damage for a short time. Just like before, more damage. Nothing wrong with damage. And you get it from killing an enemy, which you are going to be doing. Next, Diversify. Your Digijack's wrist lasers that they use to attack are now a shotgun laser instead of just a single projectile. Very useful. Another damage increase for your Jax for whenever you want more damage. Next, Teamwork. If an ally enters fight for your life, or a Digijack dies, you regenerate health for a few seconds. This effect can stack up to 10 times. This is very useful, again, for survivability, especially whenever it comes down to clutch situations, like a boss fight or something like that. You can start to regenerate a lot of health, and maybe that health regeneration is the main thing keeping you alive in this boss fight, and hopefully it'll help you enough to get your friend back up. Next, Commitment. Whenever a Digijack dies, or a friend goes in to fight for your life, you gain a stack of commitment. You gain a stack of commitment. The longer your friends are in fight for your life, the more stacks you gain. Stacks granted when a Digijack dies last for 6 seconds, and stacks gained from other players are quickly lost when they exit fight for your life. You get a bonus to fire rate and reload speed for each stack of commitment. So this is, again, based around those clutch moments where you may be the last one alive, but this can maybe give you just that little bit extra help that you needed to get past that tough scenario. Next, Winning. Kill skill. Killing an enemy increases your movement speed for a short time and instantly recharges a portion of your shields. It is very good, and it gives you that mobility that you need to both get from enemy to enemy or get out of danger, and gives you shield recharge, which is more survivability. Very good. Accountability. When a friend or a Digijack takes damage, you gain a stack of accountability. When you take damage, you lose half of your accountability stacks. And when you go into fight for your life, you lose all stacks of accountability. You gain bonus fire rate based on how many accountability stacks you currently have. So this is if you aren't being targeted that much, or you're staying at range or something like that, you can start to gain a lot of bonuses just for not being targeted at. Or if you know that you aren't taking a lot of damage, free stat increases. Why not? Next, optimism. When one of your Digijacks dies, he sets off an explosion, damaging all nearby enemies. Also, the next Digijack will spawn with less health. This is a debatable one. This will give your Jacks more damage, but it'll spawn them with less health. So it's kind of a trade-off, health for just an explosion whenever they do tend to die. Maybe try it out, maybe not. Maybe it isn't your style. I'd say give it a shot. Next, believe. Kill skill. Killing an enemy increases your gun damage, fire rate, reload speed, and accuracy for a short time. Why not? More stat increases just for doing what you were gonna do anyway, killing somebody. Next, potential. When your Digijack spawns, he sets off a shock nova. Additionally, you can use expendable assets while in fight for your life. I tend to pick up this skill. While the shock novas aren't that strong, they're nice to have, and they do it every time a Digijack spawns. But the main reason I grab this is just to use expendable assets while in fight for your life, and we'll get onto why I picked this up later. Next, delegation. A portion of damage dealt to you is redistributed to your Digijacks instead. This is damage reduction. Everything is good about damage reduction, especially since you're taking less damage than you should have. Maybe that's what kept you alive. It's a great thing. And maybe you get bonuses for your Jacks dying or taking damage. So, hey, could be good. Try it out. And finally, the keystone for the greater good tree. Leadership. This is why I take potential. When a Digijack dies, it counts as if you had killed an enemy. This can grant you a second wind while in fight for your life, and it can activate the second wind once per expendable assets. So if you are in a down state, because of potential, you can use your expendable assets. Whenever your expendable assets spawn, if one of your Digijack dies or anything like that, it'll count as you getting a second win, allowing you to stand back up. These are a very good combo and can get you out of a really bad situation. Finally, the last tree for the Doppelganger. Free Enterprise. Firstly, high frequency trading. Increases weapon swap speed, up to 75% at max rank. Very useful. Weapon swap speed is very nice, considering this weapon cannot wield more than one weapon at a time. This is very useful, considering there are a lot of things based around swapping weapons in this tree. Next, incentives. Swapping weapons increases fire rate for a short time. Each stack lasts 10 seconds, and all stacks are lost if you do not swap weapons within 10 seconds of activation. Compound interest. Shooting an enemy applies compound interest to that enemy, causing it to accrue interest for 5 seconds. Shooting the same enemy with a different gun consumes compound interest and deals explosive damage based on your skill rank and the amount of interest accrued. This skill only activates when using guns that fire bullets or lasers. This is a fairly decent ability. I'm not sure how strong the damage is, but it's a damage increase nonetheless. And since you have really fast weapons swap rate, nothing wrong with increased bonus damage. Next, marginal benefit. Throwing a grenade has a chance to reload all equipped weapons. It's pretty low chance, but it's pretty cool. Since you may not have really fast reload speed, it is a very useful trait to have. Pretty good overall. Next, money is power. Picking up money grants you a stack of money as power. You deal increased damage with all gun types for every money as power stack you currently have. All stacks are lost upon dying or spending money. Max of 999 stacks. You gain 0.25% damage per stack. This is a very useful ability, and there's really no reason not to pick this up. It is a stacking damage buff for doing what you should be doing anyway, and that's picking up loot. You find money everywhere, so you should be stacking this up fairly quickly. Really good. Definitely say pick this up. Next, Company Man. Grants increased accuracy and critical hit damage with all gun types based on the number of Hyperion manufactured gear you have equipped. This is good if you use a lot of weapons that are from the Hyperion brand. If you do not use a lot of Hyperion brand weapons, I do not recommend picking this up at all, as if you do not have a lot of them, then there's no reason to do it at all because you will be getting basically no bonus at all. So, if you use a lot of Hyperion stuff, pick it up. If you don't use a lot of Hyperion stuff, don't. It's just pretty simple. Next, Merger. Melee override skill. You press your melee key, mine is bound to 4, but whatever yours is yours. Fire shock lasers from your wrist. This ability has a cooldown. So this is a alternate melee ability for the Doppelganger. You will use it. It'll go through its animation. After it is done, it'll go on cooldown. You can use your normal melee attack while it's on cooldown, but as soon as it comes off of cooldown, you can use it again. It is very strong, and if you are going down this tree, I definitely recommend picking it up. It does a lot of damage and is very accurate. So, definitely give it a shot if you are playing this character and going down this tree. Next, Taxation of Trade Routes. Increases your fire rate with all gun types. The bonus is based on how many bullets you are currently in the magazine of all your equipped guns. The emptier your gun's magazines, the greater the bonus. So this is very good if you plan on stacking up a specific weapon. If you tend to use one weapon a lot and it has decent reload speed and stuff like that, you can just on purpose unload all of the clips or magazines of your other weapons and then just only use that one weapon and have insanely increased fire rate with that one weapon. That is what I do, and even if you don't do that strategy, it's still nice to have at least a little bit of bonus fire rate, so nothing is wrong with it there. Next, Absolute Advantage, one of Jack's best abilities in my opinion. Kill skill. Killing an enemy causes your shots to have a chance to not consume ammo for a short time. Also, rocket launchers have reduced chance to not consume ammo. The chance is pretty decent, but just like all other chance to not consume ammo abilities that I've ever went over, it is very strong because the way that not consuming ammo works is whenever it procs on the bullet that you shot, it will not consume that bullet, which means that bullet stays in your magazine to be shot again. This can proc over and over and over again, and in theory, you can shoot indefinitely forever. It is unlikely to do so, but there is a chance in theory. Next, Laser Surplus. Slam Augment. When you slam, you shoot a cone of lasers in front of you. This is a new thing added to the pre-sequel game, hence why we are on the moon and there is very low gravity. You can now slam onto the ground since you can get up really high, and this just helps with mobility. So this is just adding damage to your slam movement, which is pretty good. I don't pick it up, but it's nice. Next, Supply and Demand. Grants you and your allies constant health regeneration. The lower your health, the more powerful the regeneration. Nothing wrong with more survivability. It's pretty good. I have not picked it up yet because that's not what level this character is, but it is a very good ability, and if you're going down here, nothing wrong with grabbing it. Finally, sponsored by. Your gun gains a manufacturer bonus based on the last gun you held in your hands. This ability is very tricky and does a lot of different things depending on what weapons you use. How this works is if you use a weapon, say from Hyperion. If you look at the card, it says Hyperion plus 30% accuracy. This means if you are wielding a Hyperion weapon, and then you swap to a Jacob's weapon, your Jacob's weapon that you just swapped to will have plus 30% accuracy, not that it'll get the plus 30% weapon damage. But if after you swap to the Jacob's weapon and your Jacob's weapon had 30% accuracy, if you swap back to your Hyperion weapon will now have the Jacob's bonus, which is plus 30% weapon damage. That is how it works, and it is very, very useful, especially considering we have a lot of weapon swap speed from other parts of the skill tree. In my opinion, this is a very good ability, and if you tend to swap weapons to either a lot or to weapons that gain nice strong bonuses, definitely pick this up. I find it personally very strong. Alright, so that is it for the Doppelganger skill tree. It is very interesting, and it has a lot of synergy in it. Things about this game is, again, there's a lot of new stuff to go through since we aren't on Pandora anymore, so everywhere is new. There's a lot of new characters. There's a new element now, which is Cryo, which is ice element, so that's fun. Other than that, that about wraps it up, because again, I do not want to spoil story for any of this game's story. I put a disclaimer at the beginning just to warn in case people didn't want to know who the villains were or why they were bad. But I am not going to spoil this story. Other than that, I will go over again that the DLC in this game is not that great. It does not have a lot of content. If there's any one that I recommend you should get, it is the Claptastic... is it Claptastic Voyage? I think it's that. Nonetheless, it is the Claptrap DLC. I recommend getting that. The other two are basically just like Horde-style things. Well, not so much Horde-style, but like wave-based survivals, per se. So they're interesting, but it's not really like a lot of content. So I wouldn't really recommend it. I mean, if you feel like buying it anyway, go ahead, nothing's stopping you, but I wouldn't say you get a lot of bang for your buck for doing it. Other than that, I highly recommend picking up both of the DLC characters. Both of the DLC characters are very strong, very fun, and enjoyable to play. And I believe that about wraps it up for not only Borderlands the pre-sequel, but for the trilogy. At least until Borderlands 3 is released. So we have Borderlands, Borderlands 2, Borderlands the pre-sequel, and soon Borderlands 3 will be released. And whenever that is, and after I've played it for a while, enough to learn the game inside out and get a good idea for everybody, I will do a review of that game then. But until then, that will be all for this month. I will be doing another set of 3 reviews next month, and thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was informative to you, and hope that it gave you an idea whether you wanted to get this game or not. Try it out. Just like Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, there's blood and gore. It's pretty cartoony. It's not that bad. It can be turned off, but whenever you turn it off, it will only affect enemies you are fighting and not scenes that you will be watching, so there will still be some blood. But, again, it's pretty cartoony. It's not that bad. So if it doesn't bother you that much, definitely give this one a try. It probably won't bother you. If you can't handle it at all, just pass by. But that is about it, and I hope that everyone had a good time here. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you next time on the next reviews. I do not know what they will be yet, but we shall see. So, without further ado, have a good day, everybody. I'll see you next time.